There's a moment that happens when you're leading something. And if you've ever experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything suddenly stops. People turn, and all eyes land on you. Maybe it's in a meeting. Maybe it's in your family. Maybe it's during a moment of pressure when something unexpectedly goes wrong. But suddenly, everyone is waiting. Waiting for a decision. Waiting for direction. Waiting for someone to take responsibility for what happens next. And in that moment, something interesting happens inside you. Part of you wants to step forward, and another part of you wants to disappear. Because leadership often means making decisions before you feel completely ready. And today, I want to talk about that moment. The moment when everyone is looking at you for the answer. Hello and welcome to Thrive Within. I'm your host, Marc a life coach, educator, and someone who's passionate about helping you live more fully, honestly, and aligned with who you really are. This podcast is your space for real talk and focused coaching on things like confidence, purpose, boundaries, self-doubt, and personal growth. So whether you're on a walk, taking a break, or just giving your brain a moment to breathe, I am so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Most people think leadership feels powerful, but the truth is, many times it feels heavy because leadership means responsibility. It means your decisions affect other people, their time, their effort, and sometimes even their livelihoods. And when that responsibility lands on your shoulders, it can trigger a wave of doubt. What if I make the wrong call? What if I miss something important? What if everyone else realizes I don't have all the answers? But here's something important most people eventually learn. Leadership isn't about having perfect answers. It's about being willing to make the next decision while others hesitate. Let me take you on a film set for a moment. If you've never been on one, imagine dozens of people working together towards one goal. You've got the camera department, lighting, grip, sound, actors, production, every department moving like pieces of a puzzle. Now imagine that puzzle suddenly stops. I remember a moment early in my career when we were shooting a scene and something critical went wrong with the lighting setup, and the shot depended on a specific look, but the equipment wasn't cooperating, time was ticking, crew members were waiting, the director was looking around, and eventually, everyone looked at me. Not because I had magical powers, but because it was my department. In that moment, you can feel the pressure rise. Your mind starts racing. Okay, what's the fastest fix? Is there another option? Will this change the shot? But here's the key moment. You take a breath. You slow down. And you make the call. Here's the thing about leadership that most people don't talk about enough. Many decisions are made on incomplete information. You don't always get clarity. You don't always get the time to analyze every angle. Sometimes the best you can do is combine your experience, your instincts, and the information available in that moment. Then you choose a direction. And what often surprises people is this. Most teams don't need perfection. They need movement. They need someone willing to step forward and say, all right, here's what we're going to do. Because uncertainty is far more damaging than an imperfect decision. It's like I tell my students all the time, I'd rather have you make a confident bad decision than no decision at all. That moment on set taught me something important. Confidence isn't the absence of pressure. Confidence is the ability to remain steady while pressure exists. Your heart might still be racing. Your brain may still be calculating. But outwardly, you become calm. You become the calm center of the storm. In that calm, it spreads. And when a leader stays grounded, the entire team relaxes. People stop panicking. They start focusing again, and suddenly that momentum begins to return. So let's bring this back to you. You may not be running a film set, but moments like this happen everywhere, in your job, in relationships, in your family. Sometimes the moment arrives when people are waiting for someone to step up, and that someone might be you. So ask yourself this: where in my life am I waiting for someone else to lead, when I might already have the ability? Where might I be underestimating my ability to make my own next decision? And what would it look like to trust myself in that moment? Here's a simple framework that works both on set and in life. First, pause before reacting. Pressure often pushes us into a panic, so clarity comes from slowing down, even for a few seconds. Second, gather what information you can quickly. What do you know right now? What options exist? What is the most realistic next step? And then third, pick a direction and commit to it. Not forever, just for the next step. Leadership often happens one decision at a time. The truth about leadership is something most people eventually realize is you don't become ready first. You become ready enough through the experience of doing it. Every decision teaches you something. Every challenge sharpens your instinct. And every moment of responsibility strengthens your confidence. So the next time life puts you in that moment, when everyone turns, when people are waiting, and when the room feels still, take a breath. Trust your experience and step forward. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode resonated with you today, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from hearing it too. If you'd like to explore more ideas like this, you can find my books and resources at guidedpathcoaching.crd.co. Until next time, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and remember, you're doing better than you think.